Hey Paul, you alright?
I'm very well, thank you.
I think we'll just sit here and chat for a couple of minutes before we start properly. So, have you had a nice day today?
I've had a great day.
You been at work?
I have, yes, for my sins.
How was that?
It was okay.
Yeah? What did you do?
I do fleet management for a reserve unit, military reserve unit in Wakefield.
Okay, so like TA?
Yeah. Well, I don't call it TA anymore.
Okay, did they not?
No, you upset a lot of people.
Have I been...
You have been a bit dismissive.
Hold on. I've been dismissive.
That's how it comes across.
I thought that's how it was called.
That used to be called as reserves now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you done that for long?
I've been doing that for 3 years now, yeah.
Okay.
Back into the military for what I know.
Yeah.
It's very easy.
How long were you in the army for?
22 years.
Ouch. That's a long time.
Yeah. It suited me. I joined at 18.
Yeah.
I realised very quickly when I was young that I needed to... you got to think it's the 80s. So, living in a place called Wigan, there's a very small town community. And, I needed to get away. So, the military gave me that.
So were you before you joined the army then, were you a bit of a misfit type character? Could you have gone off the rails?
No, I don't think so. I've always been outspoken, so even as a young lad, the school reports always said the same thing: you're not easily led. As in, so if I got myself into trouble, it was through me, and I got myself into trouble quite often. So it was always my fault.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, but that just shows that it adds to the belligerence, as Lucy would say, determined, stubborn.
Yeah.
So I'll only do what I want to do. I don't do things that I don't really want to do.
Okay.
But not without much holding my breath and stamping my feet.
So 22 years in the military at what, 18?
18, yeah.
So what did you, what's the potted history of your 22 years?
I did loads of things. The main things is obviously I went to Bosnia, I went to Kosovo, I went to Iraq, I went to Afghanistan, I went to Northern Ireland.
Wow.
So I've pretty much seen the worst the world's got to offer. But, that's just part of what you do. And then you've got to get out and deal with other things. Basically, as Lucio says to me, I had to leave the army and grow up. And nobody wants to grow up.
No, I'm avoiding it
no,
as long as possible.
So am I. I'm still trying. But the army suited me because I was single for most of it, and I just did what I wanted, even though it's very disciplined. It's not that disciplined, but you're under a disciplined regime. But I got to do what I wanted to do, and because I was single, when they said you fancy doing this, I go, yeah, I'll go off and do that. So I did lots of different stuff. Being in the Royal Engineers, it gives you a great variation. So in that time, I became a diver, not scuba diving, looking at wrecks and fish. It's civil diving, so it's working.
Okay.
So scaffolding, building demolitions, cutting things. Search, which is probably the worst part of it, obviously, because if you're searching, you're generally searching for not very good things.
Yeah.
I also managed to get myself attached to the Royal Marines for 5 years.
Oh wow!
So I got to do my commando course. Go to Norway, ski. It's really good stuff. But the only problem is when you go off and do things in the military, or especially with the Royal Marines, it's not. You go skiing, but it's not skiing. Look at me in my, pink puff sort of ski kit. You're in green kit and you're carrying a very big Bergen that weighs probably about 70, 80 pounds, and you've got these two 2 metre skis, and you're trying to ski. You have to ski uphill. You're herringbone, or you sort of you go along and you have to do the stupid sort of frog-like turn to go back up again. And when you fall over, it takes you forever to get back up again. You would definitely die and fly on the floor with your kit on.
And did you do that thing where you jump, where you fall in the lake?
Yeah. Where you break the ice. So they break the ice and you ski along and you fall in, and then you have to drag yourself out, and then you roll yourself in the snow to take away any excess liquid, and they throw you into a very hot tent to strip off and put your warm kit on. Yeah, I did that as well. Yeah.
And how did you feel before you had to do that?
Like anything, you don't. People always go about the cold water shock, and it is massive. So when you hit that water, and you've suddenly got to, fight or flight, isn't it? And you have to realise you have to get yourself out. But that shock is, as they say, it takes your breath away. But it literally, you cannot breathe that initial minute because you just so cold. The cold just really hits you very much. But you know, at the same time, I've done ice diving as well, where you know, I've been in my kit and you make a hole and you drop into the ice and you go under the ice and you go diving and do work and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And so you've been fit all your life,
yeah,
pretty much.
I think so. Yeah.
And did you do much running before you joined the army?
No, I didn't. I didn't do any.
Yeah.
I was if we had a school cross country,
Yeah.
and had 50 runners,
Yeah.
came 25th. If we had 100 runners, I'd come 50th. I was missed when it came to running. I was Mr. Mediocre.
Okay.
Wasn't really, I wasn't unfit. Early 80s, you know what I mean. So, you didn't have McDonald's, you know, that loads of fast food. Did you see? You think the kids in the sort of late 70s and 80s? Yeah. I don't remember seeing that really many massively fat children, you know,
No.
in that sort of a time. So and then before I left, as I was leaving school, obviously it was 82 and the breakdancing came out and I did that.
So that was your thing, was it?
Yeah, breakdancing. I think that's what got me fit, got my heart rate. So when I joined the military, by the time I was 18, I could actually run. Actually, I had the heart and lungs that got me to run. But then obviously the military then made me run.
Made you run.
And made me run with weight, and they made you carry things. And you got to think, when I joined the army, I was only 7 stone 10. Same height, but 7 stone 10. So I was very, very wee.
Yeah.
But within the sort of, you do it in phases of 10-week training blocks. I think in the phase of 10 weeks, I sort of put on over a stone straight away.
And that was
first
just all.
10 weeks.
And that had just been all muscle.
Yeah, straight away. And then the next lot, I think, So by the time I'd left training, I'd gone from 7 stone 10 to just shy of 10 stone, I think.
And so, did you do any? I mean, I know there was all the standard running that you'd have been having to run for a mile with your pack on and all that kind of stuff. But did you get involved in any races while you were in the army?
I did cross country, but
Right.
yet again, I was always just not mediocre, but I was never the fastest. There was some amazingly fit people.
Yeah.
I was never the slowest, but I was always sort of.
Was that all sort of like 5-10 mile type distances, or?
No, the cross country was always sort of 6 miles.
Right. Okay.
So you do sort of 6 mile races and.
Which, knowing you now, is like not even.
Well, no, but
that's probably didn't even warm you up.
No, and you do what they call you have CO fun runs, and they'd be like 4 miles.
Right. Okay.
And obviously you had the 1.5 sprint you did with boots and denims on at the time, which you had to do under. You had to do under 11.5 minutes, and then under 30 you had to do under 10.5.
Okay.
And I think the slowest I ever did that was sort of 9:30. And then you had to do that. You had to do it twice a year, but you always eventually did it 3 or 4 times a year.
Okay. Right. So fast forward.
Yeah.
You came out of the army.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
Yeah.
And what did you do? What did you do for fitness then? Did you?
I didn't actually.
Did you do anything?
No, I didn't do anything when I got out initially. I was a fish out of water, really. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Ended up getting my dogs and did dog training. Did a bit of dog training for a bit, and then I suddenly decided to. I sort of all my friends that were in the military when I got out who lived nearby me, they'd all moved off, obviously posted in places. So I was very much on my own, and I was trying to work out how to meet people.
Okay.
As you do, especially when you're in I was in Cambridge. None of my family from Cambridge. It's not on the way to anywhere, so nobody would be like, I'm on the way to London, I'll pop in and see. You know what I mean? You never got it, so I didn't see anybody. So I joined a local running club. I joined the Cambridge and College Running Club, and that sort of got me running.
Okay.
And that, to be honest, that even though I did a bit of cross country, I did more mountain biking and cycling when I was in the military. So that's what actually got me running, was joining this running club. And it's a really friendly place, even though even Cambridge, there's running club's massive. But there's a really good bunch of people that were very.
And most running clubs are, aren't they? I mean,
I don't think all are.
Okay.
But in my experience, I mean, I've been in 4 running clubs now.
Okay.
3 of them been brilliant. 1 of them not so good. One of them very cliquey, especially if you're in move to a little town.
Okay.
Where everybody seems to know everybody else, and you're the outsider. Then,
Okay.
Even if you try to be outgoing, they don't really want to.
Doesn't always work. It's not always your pub, is it?
No, and it's the same, especially when all they knew was road running, and road running's not my. I was trying to explain to them that I don't really do road running.
Yeah.
I do, and they didn't get what I did. But not that I was doing ultras, but I wanted to go off and do trail racing, 10 milers, or I just wanted to go off and get into the hills, and they just didn't get that. You know, just completely different.
So you started doing a bit of road running.
Yeah.
Or not.
Well, just running. Yeah.
As the case may be.
Just racing.
And then what was your first kind of longer event? Was this? Is this the 10 Peaks that you're going to tell us?
It's the 10 Peaks, but initially, before what happened was I'd done. They used to be called the KIMS, which are mountain marathons,
Okay.
and they're now called OMS, and the military put teams in. And it's just orienteering, isn't it, on a grand scale? So I'd done a couple of them, but we do it like walking. So you're carrying your tent, your food, and everything. It is on the military sort of side. It's really good. So I'd bumped into an ex-military friend who said, "Do you fancy doing the OM, as they're called now?" And I went, "Yeah, let's do that." So in our training for the OM, I decided that we got chatting, and we found everybody was going on about this book called Feet in the Clouds, Richard Ashworth. So I read it, and when I was reading it, I was going, "Oh my God, there's stuff in there." I went, "Oh, I'd love to do that, but I can't do that." Like just the Yorkshire Three Peaks for one of them.
Yeah.
But we went off, and I thought, right, when I went to the Yorkshire Three Peaks, I went to the Yorkshire Three Peaks, which is obviously marathon. It's 24 miles. And at the same time, when we was out training in just outside Betsy Coed, we bumped into these people. It was December, and it was like sort of knee deep in snow. So for everybody else, it's knee deep. For me, it was waist deep. And we bumped into these blokes, and we were chatting, and they said, "Have you heard of this race called the 10 Peaks race?" I'm like, obviously not knowing anything.
Yeah.
I said, "No, I never heard it." He goes, "Oh, it's just basically the 10 highest peaks in the Lake District in 24 hours." And me and mate started chatting away, going, "I could do that, 10 highest peaks in 24 hours. I could do that. What sort of distance?" I think it was about 50 miles or so. "Yeah, 24 hours, yeah, we could do that." So, so I entered. So I did the Yorkshire Three Peaks, and then a couple of months later, I did the 10 Peaks, which is obviously ultra running, which I didn't know. I had obviously no idea whatsoever. So I tipped up in walking gear.
Okay.
I had boots, walking trousers, probably similar to what you're wearing now, actually. T-shirt. I had a full day sack, sleeping bag, cooker, food, and all these blokes were there in trainers and little running vest things. I was really worried about the safety on there. Maybe safe trainers. Trainers have like palpitations of the heart. Look at these people in trainers.
And when was this?
I think it was 2011.
Okay.
2011. So yeah, so we went off and did it. We went off and did this race, and it was horrendous.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's 24-hour cut-off. I got halfway through. We just done Scarfell, and I was still with my mate at the time. And then my mate, on the way back to Scarfell Pike, because you go over that way to go towards Great Gable, we lost him. So I sat down just below Scarfell Pike, and I waited over an hour for him. And then he tipped because, "Yeah, I'm done, mate. I'm done." "Oh, okay." And I had the car key, so I had to give him the car key. But then I realised if I didn't push, I'd missed the cut-off, and the cut-off was the other side of Great Gable. So I had to thrash myself from Scarfell Pike up over Great Gable, and I made the cut-off by about half an hour. And I was like, "Oh my God." Anyway, made the cut-off, and I carried on. And the last peak you do is Skiddaw. So you went to Pillar, go to Honiston, got through there, and then I was on my way to Skiddaw, and I'm going, "I don't know if I can do this." I can map read, but I'd never been up Skiddaw, and I knew it was going to be dark, and I was going, I don't know if I can be bothered. The worst thing is the finish is in Keswick, and the route takes you 2 miles away from Keswick town centre, where it's sort of
see it.
So you know it's just there, and then but looking, and it's about I think it was about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I bumped into this couple, and I said, "Are you carrying on?" They went, "Yeah, we're going to carry on." I goes, "All right. Do you mind if I tag along?" And they went, No, it's fine. It's great." And as it was, it ended up about 7 of us all shuffling all the way to the top of Skiddaw. And you go up Skiddaw, the sort of the worst side, because you go up via Carlside, which is steeper.
Okay.
And so you go out the way, and then you sort of come back in and round. And I just remember it took forever to get to the top of Skiddaw. I think we got to the top I've got a picture of me somewhere, you can see I'm absolutely shattered, and it's about 1:30, 2 in the morning when I got to the top of Skiddaw. And I had 2 hours to get down back into Keswick. I was in bits, And anyway, got down, and I fell in I think it was 23 hours, 40 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I just managed to get in before the cut-off. And I just remember how I felt. I was an absolute bit. I was in bits. I had chafing that I don't even want to talk about. My legs, everything was in bits. And I got to the camp. My mate had to come and pick me up because he had the car in the campsite. It was out of the way. And I went for a shower, sort of. I think it was about 4:30, 5:30 in the morning. Silent scream in the shower with the soapy water till the chafing type thing. And then I crawled into my sleeping bag. I'd only been there. It took me ages to get my sleeping bag and try to be quiet. And I was in there for about half an hour.
Oh no!
So to climb out, it took me ages. I was in absolute pain. Crawled out. Anyway, I had to come back. And now another hour later, and you go for a wee again. And by then it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. I was right, I'm just not going to bed now. That's me up. And I can't even tell you. It took me absolutely weeks to recover from that. You know, I couldn't even get when I got home to Cambridge, and Cambridge is flat. So you think you have to climb over his stairs. I couldn't climb over stairs. I had to roll over him. Like do a floor flop over the top and fall on the other side, you know. I just couldn't lift my legs up to do anything. I was an absolute bit. So that was
your first ultra.
That was my first ultra, but I didn't know what ultras was then.
Okay, so then from 2011 to 2019,
yeah,
we're going to talk about the Dragon's Back in a minute. What have you done in that sort of 8 years that's prepped you for the Dragon's Back? Where did
the things like the York's Three Peaks did? One of the initial really good turning points for me was Hardmoor races.
Yeah.
I'd obviously moved up to Boston Spa by then, which is not too far away from here. And Hardmoor races are very accessible from where we are. And I just suddenly found one online, which was Saltburn, and I just sort of entered. But I'd already joined Weatherby Runners by then, and I'd actually started to be really consistent.
Okay.
So I was training, I was single, and I was just training a lot, you know, and I was just getting out and doing little local races. They do, like, obviously they have local leagues, don't they?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have a summer league and you have the Pico Winter League, and they're all sort of 4 or 5 mile races, and they're all generally off-road trail, not so much technical, but and not massively, obviously it's round here, so it's not massively hilly, but they're enough to, you know, get some speed work in and do stuff like that. So I started doing them, and then I decided that I could do them, so I wanted something bigger, some more challenges.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2011, I didn't move here till 2013. I'd already done the 10 Peaks again.
Okay.
By then, so I'd done that. I said I wouldn't do it again. Signed up for the next year, as you do. So you do that.
How did you do the next year?
I think I took 2 hours off it the next time I did
Okay.
it. And I did it. I had more running attire then.
Okay.
I had Innovate boots rather than proper walking boots. I still had a rucksack because I didn't have anything else. And I think I did it in sort of running tights. I can't remember. I might have been in walking trousers. I don't know. But it was definitely lighter. I was more light. You know, kit. I wore lighter. And then so the Hardmoors is what really sort of fired me up.
Okay.
And then so
because the first time I saw you, I was on a checkpoint, and I was expecting one run in the Goathland
Yeah.
And I was out on a checkpoint in a truck, on the edge of a moor somewhere, and I was expecting somebody else. You know, if I'd been putting odds on that day, I was expecting somebody else to pitch up as first runner.
Yeah.
And this little guy came. You know, you won't mind me saying that.
No.
This little guy came panting up, and he was like, and I was going, how is he breathing? He's breathing so hard. He's like, how is he breathing that hard all the time? That's me being out of my comfort zone. And he like toddled in and went, oh, am I first? All right, am I? Thanks. Cheers. See ya. And off you went. I don't even think you had a drink. I think you just wanted to be in the right direction. And that was the first time I saw you. That might have been 2013.
I think it could be 2013 or 2014.
Okay.
I think it's probably 2014 because
Okay.
I think I did. Yeah, Saltburn was my first one.
Right.
Goathlands was my second.
Okay.
Saltland, I don't know. You know, obviously I just arrived, and like anything you do, a race, you look at all these people and they all look fit. And I know I'm short, a bit chubby, you know. So I look at these people and they've got, you know, and I've just got whatever kit and they've got all this gear, and I'm going, you know, it sort of puts you, you know, you're looking around at people. But like anything, that from the military sort of side, when somebody says go, I can't help myself. I'm gonna go.
And you run your race.
And I just run, and I'll just do whatever I feel comfortable doing. I don't really pay much attention to what everybody else is doing. I just do what I want to do, and that's what I did. And surprising enough, I won Saltburn, which came as a massive shock to me because it was the last thing I couldn't even believe it myself, because and then the person that came behind me they were quite a bit way before they fell in, and I was quite sort of shocked at that because I just ran.
Yeah, exactly.
I just ran. And then Goathland was the same. I remember tipping at Goathland, and again, I remember setting off, and it was obviously, I didn't know him at the time, was Jace Cavell, and we ran down the hill together. I mean, the first sort of climb, and then through the sort of river, you know, you bounce on them wet stones.
Yeah.
And as we hit that climb to go out back onto the moor, he just disappeared. I didn't see it, and then I didn't see anybody after
Up
that.
to Simon Howe, yeah.
Yeah, all the way up to Simon Howe and then back round. And I remember, I can't, is it Summit Cross, is it? Not Waller.
Illa Cross.
Illa Cross, that's, I got to Illa Cross and some bloke goes to me and go, oh, where's Jason? I went, oh, I don't know, mate, I don't know who he is. He went, oh, right, because it's that way, innit? He went, yeah, I went, okay. See you later, mate, cheers. And I just legged off, and then before I knew it, I was in and finished.
Yeah, you were done.
Yeah. Well, what people might remember is I came in, I had a cup of tea and a slice of cake, and I was chatting to people. Then I had to go back out because Lucy, who's obviously not, is now my girlfriend, but she was a really good friend of mine, and she was running the Goathland, and I said I would help her. Oh. So I literally had a cup of tea, a piece of cake, and then the weather had really changed, went horrible, and I ran back out to meet her. So I had to go back over Simon's Seat and drop down the other side, and she was just crossing the main road.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I ran back in within. So by the time I come back, all the people had been awarded their prizes. I was like the last person to
to get your prize.
To get my prize for the day.
Right. Let's bring you up to date.
Yeah.
So this year you took on the Dragon's Back.
I did.
I'm going to ask you some other questions before we talk about Dragon's Back, because some people have been asking us. So you can see the question. Take the one on the right. So how do you cope with dark times during events?
For me, that's my favourite time, to be honest. I quite like the dark. I quite like when it's dark, and I like, especially when I'm on my own and there's a bit of light and I have my head torch on.
I think they probably don't mean when it's dark.
Oh, dark
time.
No.
When you're having a bit of a
dark time,
a shit time, I think is what we're talking about.
You just put it down. You make things into smaller chunks, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, you just make it to a next point.
Do you sometimes concentrate on a bad thing too much?
No, yeah, you can do, but that's the point. You don't. You try and, to me, you go, right, it is this, reevaluate, reassess.
Yeah.
What can I do? I can do this. And focus on what you can do.
So if something's happened, or you may be 10 minutes behind your plan, or 2 hours behind plan, whatever it is, would you kind of then in your head say, well, that was that plan.
Yeah.
We're not on that plan now, we're on this plan.
Yeah, you just change your everything you do is a reassessment. So you get to a point, you go, right, well, I've not achieved that, but what can I achieve?
Okay.
Well, I think I can achieve this. And then, so that's my next, and I'll just move to what I feel I can achieve.
Create new goals that are realistic.
Yeah, and you just go, that's realistic, let's do this.
Okay.
You know, and I like anything, as long as you're moving, doesn't matter how you're moving, you could be walking, crawling, running, shuffling, as long as you're moving in the right direction, you know, whether it be southerly, northerly, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whichever the route's going, if you're moving in that direction, then it's good.
You're moving,
You're moving, it's
perfect.
good. And that's what you do, you focus on what's good.
Yeah.
And try and put what's bad behind you.
Okay.
You know,
cool.
You can't change it.
Let me ask you another one. Dave Ward wants to know, what was your hardest race?
Hardest race, that's because all races are different, as we know, you know, and they all bring different things. For me at the moment, and probably because it's very much in my head and it's down to aspirations and not achieving aspirations, probably Dragon's Back at the moment. But the 200 is really hard, but that yet again for different reasons, you know. That was a continual. The Spine was really hard, yet again different reasons. Each race brings something else to the game, and so it's very hard to say this was definitely the hardest race.
Have you ever DNF'd anything?
I have DNF'd. I DNF'd the second time on the Glencoe Skyline race.
Okay, and why was that?
My mind, I'll be honest, it's the only time ever I've ran where I've not thought about the race. Every time I run, I'm very much thinking of pacing, navigation, you know, what I want to eat, what do I want to drink, you know, checkpoints, you know, things like that. I'm very much focused on that, right? You know, like might be something simple, right? This climb, I've got 500 metres to climb here, right? I want to be up there in 40 minutes. Okay. Do you know what I mean? And do that. On that race, I didn't think about anything like that. I was thinking of, you know, I don't know what I wasn't thinking. Your
head wasn't in the game.
My head was not. I was definitely not thinking about running.
Okay.
You know, I was thinking about personal stuff, stupid stuff. But I never think about.
Nothing to do with
I
race.
always think about running and racing when I'm racing. That's all I ever think about. I'm very focused.
So lack of focus.
Yeah, my head wasn't in it, and I knew it. And when I actually pulled out of it, somebody said to me, "Goes, oh, you were within the cut-off. You can do it." And I could have done. I could have probably walked around it, but I just didn't.
Wasn't your day.
It just did to the point I wasn't interested. So I just got dropped to the road and I ran down to the sort of checkpoint, to another checkpoint where I knew I could get a lift if needed.
But you knew.
But I just knew I was done. I was just done.
Okay.
And I'd only you know, as much as a great race, the Glencoe Scott, yeah, again, that could line as one of the hardest races because it is. It's a short race, but, you know, it's a real killer, you know, but it just my head wasn't in it, so you got to know.
Second part of Dave's question, your greatest sense of achievement. I'm assuming this relates to running, not.
Yeah, but I say this every time I finish a race, you know, especially some of the big ones. Dragging back is a massive sense of achievement.
Yeah.
You know, you know straight away at the start line, 40% of who start on Monday don't make it to the end. So, you know, it's always a sense of achievement. And then, you know, and I got my dragon at the end. That was I was really chuffed to get my dragon, I must admit. And it's the most emotional I felt at the end of any race. I really, when people were trying to chat to me, and I just couldn't really say anything because I felt I was going to burst into tears. I really was chuffed to have finished. But also at the time, I was absolutely knackered. You know, even when I finished the spine, if I got asked to run a bit further, I probably could have done. But when I did on the Dragon's Back, that was me. I was done.
You were done.
I couldn't have. I didn't want to move another step.
Cool.
You know?
Right. Last question, and we'll talk about Dragon's Back. Ultra running. Carl's asked us: is ultra running more mental, opposed to a 10k?
Massively so. I mean, yet again, that's down to perception, isn't it, as well? So for somebody who's never run a 10k, then that's massive mental sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But for me, I work at the principles like this. So 5k, because it's such, you know, a hard thing. 5k's kill me because it's just there's no time to think. You start and you finish. So that's the point with them because they're so fast and so quick. You don't have a chance to go through the mental process because you're done in 20 minutes. You know, you're done and dusted. Same as, you know, as a 10k. You know, as a flat 10k, you're done in under 40 minutes. You don't really get a chance to go for that mental process. If you're looking at your pace, you know, like road runners do, they're always checking the pace, like they're trying to maintain sort of 6-minute miles or whatever else. You just that mental process is not as massive. But then you start going into a half marathon, then there's more time to think. So then you do start slipping more into a mental process. Yeah, again, marathon, even more so. And I honestly believe, you know, ultra running is a great sport. How many running sports can you say, yeah, I walked half of that? But that is ultra running, isn't it? You know, especially on a technical course, you know you're going to walk up the hills. So the mental aspect in an ultra is such a massive part of it. Probably more than fitness to an extent. You know, because, and that's why you get such a broad spectrum of people who complete ultra races rather than 10Ks and marathons and whatever else. Because the mental sort of process and how you can process it as well and break it down into, you know, manageable chunks. Nobody thinks of it. You don't start a 200-mile race and think of the finish. That would just be suicidal, wouldn't it? To go, yeah, I've just started. Oh, in 48 hours, I'm hoping to finish this. 48 hours when you're on your feet is a long time. So you break it down to, right, I'm just going to get to that checkpoint. Right, what do I want at that checkpoint? Oh, water. Yeah. I might want something to eat. I might not want something. Do you know what I mean? But that's what you're doing. You're thinking, you're just pre-planning in your head.
So, tell us about the Dragon's Back. When did you enter the Dragon's Back?
I was very lucky when in 2017 I got a phone call. I'd only finished the 200 a week, and I got a phone call off Rupert Bonington asking me how I was feeling after the 200. I went, yeah, I feel all right. He goes, how do you feel about running the last day of the Dragon's Back? I went, sign me up. Now I'd heard about the Dragon's Back obviously through Feet in the Clouds. I mentioned the Feet in the Clouds. They mentioned it, and it has such a such a thing. The Dragon's Back, you know, when it first came out, and you look at it, you just go, wow, it's just a massive thing. And I also remember, you know, I remember because that's when I was more in the ultra world sort of scene, so I get to see more, had more friends, and I could see people who were going to do it. Yeah. I could hear more about it and hear more stories. So the more you hear about it, and like anything, you start going, oh, could I do that? Do I have what it takes to be able to complete that? And you know, you've done some other races, and you think, I think I could do that. So to get a chance to run a day of it was just awesome. Yeah. You're looking from the inside in, and that's the one thing that you can never do on a race. You very rarely get a chance unless you're marshalling, but marshal's not the same as running, of looking from the inside outwards. Yeah. So that gives you a really good idea of whether, like anything, is it worth, it's a lot of money. Is it worth...
How much is it?
It's 900 quid.
Ouch.
So you got to think, is it worth the £900? Am I going to get value for money?
Yeah.
And I'm getting to looking at that, having that day free where I got to look at it and
Yeah.
made me go, yeah, actually, I do think you get, you know, what you pay. You get what you pay for.
Mm.
It's like, in my ways, it's like a busman's holiday, isn't it? You know what I mean? I love being out in the hills. I love running.
Yeah.
This way, I'm paying somebody to move my campsite
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
feed me. You know, when you're in the race bubble, I just literally also do is put my running gear on, dib out, go and thrash myself, you know, up and down the hills, and dib in at the end of the day, and then pick my bag up, and that's it.
So 2017, you ran the last day.
Yeah.
How was that? Was that?
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah, I did.
And then did you enter straight away? Pretty much. Was that?
No, obviously £900's a lot of money, so I had to work out whether I could afford it, and yeah, sort of with getting Christmas presents as money and things like that. You know, you sort of, and people being kind to me, we sort of worked out. I was also I thought I made maybe a chance I could get a free entry, which, you know, I always work in the principle if you don't ask, you don't get, and no doesn't offend.
Yeah.
So I always like to ask the question. And if they say no to me, that's fine. I won't be offended, and you know it doesn't change anything.
At least you know, yeah.
Yeah, but at least you know you asked the question. But you know, in this case, we had to work it out. We had to scrimp and I had to scrimp, but it was worth it. In my eyes, it was worth it. You know, yeah. So it wasn't definite. In fact, to be fair, it only really became definite that I was doing it probably about November last year.
Last year.
When we worked out that we could probably just about manage it.
And then the train. So had you been training for it? Was there a plan for training? How was your planning going?
I have ideas like everything, and it's like everything. You go, right, this is what I want to do, and you try and put it in action. Just January started off really good. I decided I wanted to run every day in January, and I did. I managed to run every day in January. Minimum of a mile. And I did really well. Nothing special. I wasn't doing any speed work, and my idea was I'd just get some endurance in, because obviously the sort of November and December before I'd done the Athens Marathon.
Yeah.
I'd done the Harwells 80, and the week after I did the Cheviot Go.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'd basically really done a minimum of a marathon every month in 2018. So I was pretty tired. So after the mountain goal, I'll be honest, and having Christmas, I sort of didn't do so much running. I enjoyed my beer, enjoyed my food, had a good Christmas. But January I thought, right, no, I'm going to try and be really good. And I did really well in January, but I didn't do any speed work. I thought I'd just build up some endurance, build up some strength, and then February, start getting the speed. And I was looking at London Marathon, and I was hoping to hopefully maybe get a sub 3 hour London Marathon.
Okay.
And I just thought that would feed in with everything else I was doing. But
why were you going for speed work rather than?
Because I've not
Why
obviously.
was that on your mind?
Because speed work's quite, even on if you want to be competitive in the ultras, no matter how you work it, you still need to do speed work. And what you don't necessarily have to do, you're not talking about doing the 100 metres and 200 metre sprints.
Yeah.
But you're definitely talking about fartlek sessions. You know, you're definitely talking about long tempo runs, sort of 7, 8. In my eyes, you know, I'm not an expert, but I've done enough physical training in my life to work out, I think, what I think is best for me.
Yeah.
So tempo runs, you know, a good sort of 7, 9 miler at tempo, you know, running it's, you know, a good sort of 7:15, 7 minute mile pace if I can. You can do that on road. The beauty of that, you can do that on road. You know what I mean? Because that's the idea, is to get that constant pace going. And that, even though he likes working, they always say, you know, if you want to build speed work, park runs are ideal for that. You know, if you can, you know, do your 5k every Saturday, you will build up natural speed, and that will transfer into the trails and into ultra running. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and if you've already got the stamina and endurance anyway, which I have, so the speed work's very important.
So were you confident enough that you knew you had the distance? You kind of felt like the multi-day distance, you had it in you to do all that, and you weren't really thinking about. Because like typically people who kind of talk about doing, you know, I need to do back-to-back long races, so like a marathon distance on a Saturday and a marathon distance on a Sunday, for example. If they're building up to doing 50 milers or longer races, that's a kind of quite a typical kind of thing.
Yeah.
You weren't kind of worrying about that kind of stuff because you know you've got it in you.
Because I've built. This is all. It's ultra runners in my eyes, and this is why people like Carol Morgan, and even Shelley to this extent, maybe not so much at the moment because she's you know, she's not been able to get out and do as much. But it's about conditioning. And how you condition yourself is you're going out all the time. You're doing either back-to-back races or you're doing the training.
Yeah.
But once your body's conditioned, then you can tick it over, can't you?
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
your conditioning's in.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, you look at a bodybuilder. You know, he when you look him out of season, he looks a bit fat, but he's massively strong.
Yeah.
And when he comes into his thing, he just strips off the fat, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But he won't necessarily go for big weight. You know, he'll just keep himself ticking over and obviously
Keeping it toned.
keeping it toned, isn't
Right.
it? You know what I mean?
So you felt you were right in the right condition.
Yeah.
You conditioned yourself over a number of years.
Yeah.
You got the distance in you, so now you're really wanting to.
I need to fine tune.
What you wanted to do was tune up.
Yeah, fine tune.
Tune up elements of,
Yeah.
your racing, which
Yeah.
was your speed in your
Just
head.
speed, yeah, in my
Okay.
head. And that's what I hope to do. But February, massive chest infection. Oh no, I got flu initially.
Okay.
Then it went into a chest infection, and I didn't do anything for 3 weeks. Nothing.
Okay.
And at the same sort of time, I sort of lost my mojo a little bit, which, you know,
Yeah, it happens.
it happens. You can. And lucky enough, a friend of mine, Dave Carberry, he said, he just out of the blue goes, "Do you fancy running around the Yorkshire 3P route?" And I was off at the time, and I went, "Yeah, no, let's go out and do it." So I just said, you know, I've not been very well, I've not done anything, so I don't know how I'm going to be, as long as it's steady.
Yeah.
And and he forced me out, and because he forced me out, it was good, because then it got me going, it got me moving. And then at the same time, I joined my new running club, Howgill Harriers, which did exactly the same. That they going out to meet new people,
Yeah.
going out in new areas where
Okay.
you know, and it just sort of it revitalised me.
Yeah,
It got me out consistently again.
Okay.
But I still haven't done any speed work,
Okay.
you know, and that
So you
was
didn't
the
get the speed. You didn't get the
I
speed
don't
work
do any
that
speed work.
you
at
wanted
all. No.
to be done.
No.
So let me push on a little bit. But I know you then went and did London.
Yeah.
And so how did London go?
Well, in my head, obviously, people always speak to me and say, "Oh, you know, when you speak about road runs, everything's about time." Which I get it, I do get it, but you know, and I do set times for myself. So in my head, anybody who asks me, I said, "Well, as long as I get under 3:30, I'll be happy."
Yeah.
Because I've done no speed work. I know I can run the distance, but I've done no speed work. So, I hadn't tested myself, so I had no idea where I was. But in my head, I thought 3:20.
Yeah.
If on a good day, I thought 3:20. But you know, any ass, I said, as long as I got under 3:30, and I would have been happy with under 3:30. But in my head, I thought, if I have a good day, 3:20. As it was, the weather was right. I had a great day at 3:10, which
Marvellous.
shocked me to death, because
Yeah.
normally the wheels fall off about mile 19, and they didn't. And I ran and I walk a little bit, and I ran the whole race. Admittedly, my legs were dead at the last 2 miles, but I ran the whole London Marathon, which, you know, as I have to keep reminding people, the races I do, you don't expect to run solid for 3 hours. Yeah, and people forget that. You don't run solidly for 3 hours when you're doing the races we do, because you're climbing up a massive big hill.
Yeah.
So you're going to walk up it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let me ask you about your bag. You kindly brought your kit bag.
Yeah.
Show us your kit bag. Will you
Right.
talk us through that?
Yeah, what do you want to see first? My race
So,
bag?
Well, tell us.
Well, I'll go for the race
in
bag
order that you
first.
want.
So race bag, obviously, very lucky enough, Beta Running did me up, squared me away, because I needed a new race vest, and they happily supplied me with a new race vest, which is brilliant. And I found this was just perfect for what I wanted. Loads of room at the back, and obviously I always carry this, it doesn't matter what, and I don't, you know, this mandatory kit malarkey, even, you know, I know people will travel light, and some of the really top racers will always travel lighter than this, but in my eyes, if something happens to you and you can't move, it's a bloody long time to be out on that hill if you can't move. So straight away, I always have a warm jacket with me.
Cool.
It's always in there, and you know, it's always individually waterproofed, because I think it's just a safe way. So I just have, it's a really light sort of Primaloft birdhouse jacket, and I find that it does. It's really warm. It's reversible, so
Cool.
one side's warmer than
Yeah.
the other side. Really good. Then again, I always have a full set of waterproofs. I hope never to have to put these on. So, and they're always in my bag. So, waterproof bottoms and the top.
Okay.
If it's a wet day and I know it's going to be wet, I actually carry another waterproof jacket with me.
Okay.
So
What are they? Are they Montaigne?
one's Montaigne bottoms
Okay.
and a Berghaus jacket. But
Okay.
I also, if I know it's going to be a claggy, horrible day,
Yeah.
I'll actually have this out, which is
Okay.
another Ultimate Direction top, which Beta Running supply, which is brilliant. And I'll actually wear that because the idea is if I have to put that on, that's me. I'm sitting there waiting, or I am really moving slowly.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? So I have that with me there. Then hat, gloves. I always have mittens because mittens are warmer than gloves.
Okay.
And yet again, if it's cold, these will always stay in there. And if it's cold to start with, I'll always have a set of gloves on.
Okay.
And these will always stay in there. And then, obviously, the bivy bag, in case anything really goes Pete Tong.
Cool.
I'll have that in there.
That's all the gear.
And that's my gear. And then, obviously, little pockets are just for, well, as you know, charge bars, mountain fuel gels, and yeah, that's sort of stuff.
Cool. So that's your day sack.
That's my day sack.
That's pretty much what you had every day.
That's what this is what I had every day for Dragon's Back with outfit, and a compass and obviously a map.
That's cool.
So I had that in there. That's every day running. What you had to carry as well is you had a halfway drop bag. So the halfway drop bag, it's not, sort of mixed it around, but halfway drop bag is you've got to think about what you possibly are going to need sort of halfway.
So on the Dragon's Back, you're doing 50, 60 miles a day?
No, it's
less?
It's less than that. The shortest day was under 40, the longest day was about 45. And,
Okay.
and depending on your nav, because obviously it's a navigable route,
Yeah.
it's depending on how far you went on a day. So, but
and you have this drop bag.
yeah, this is a drop bag. Yeah, you was only allowed 5 kilos. Now, have you seen the size of some people's drop bags? They were huge. Yeah.
Now you have an opinion about this.
I do, because I honestly believe it. Some of the pictures I've seen of what kit people took, I honestly thought, like, even if you weren't running, you couldn't eat all that food all day. If you could just sit there and just chomp all day, you couldn't eat. There's just too much food there. So
why do they take that much, do you think?
Like, you know, as probably people have said, is they don't know what they're going to want when they're out there, a variation of that. But still, you want to have a bit of common sense about, you know, because you don't want to sit there pulling out 3 bars and going, oh, which one do I want? I can't decide. If you take that choice away and you're hungry, you're just going to eat what's there, aren't you? You know what I mean? So, you know, maybe a bit of salami if you like meat, which is why I wish I'd sort of had really, was sort of salami bars or pepperonis or something like that. You know, if you like chocolate, then a thing. But people had full of, you know, the dehydrated foods.
Yeah.
So you'd see them sit there eating dehydrated foods, and they'd have a proper meal at the halfway point. I can't really take that sort of food on board. So I would have, this was what I had. Inside it would be a pair of trainers, just in case, because you
can have kit in the bag then.
You could have kit, but you could have what you wanted, but you don't have to weigh. You can't weigh anything more than 5 kilos.
Right. Okay.
So I had a pair of trainers and then a pair of socks, because trainers can get trashed, they get ripped, and they can. So just in case, I had a really robust waterproof jacket in there, because in your mountain weather, you know, you don't know what the weather's going to do. You know, these waterproof jackets, they're all right, but the weather's really goes Pete Tong. They're not really going to do that.
These last like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
Not even that really.
Yeah.
You know, especially up high and the wind's blowing, the hydrostatic foot will just drive it through. So I always have a more robust waterproof jacket in.
Okay.
And then I had a milkshake, a mountain fuel milkshake, morning fuel, sort of 600ml of milk with a powder, and then because I could get that out, and while I was getting my water refilled, and I maybe biting on a bar, I could be drinking that as well. Okay. You know, if I did need to change my trainers, I could still be doing that while I'm multitasking. You could sip away. You could sip away. You know, you're not going to just sit there and do that. So that's basically what I did every day. That's what I had in there. Literally, the only thing I ever really changed was I'd refill my gels that I'd used on my charge bar. I'd rechange that bar. You know what I've eaten. I'd drink my milkshake and then put it away. Get my water replenished, and then I'd be off.
Cool.
What I did also kind of, obviously, yet again for the same reasons, is you don't know what the weather's going to do, and they only have water at one point, and that's a halfway point on the Dragon's Back race. So what I carried with me, because the weather got really hot, I just carried a sort of bum bag with 2 soft flasks. So then I knew I could carry, you know, if needed. So effectively, then I could carry sort of 3 litres of water then.
So you had more water carrying capacity.
Sorry, 2 litres of water. So I just carried that in case. Yeah, again, it doesn't take a lot of room up, and but better to have and not need than to need and not have. Yeah. So that was basically my drop bag for the afternoon. And then the other big thing that people, nighttime's a really strange thing, isn't it? If you're quick, then you get a lot of time in the camp. You know, I mean, I wasn't the quickest by far, but I was getting in by 6 o'clock at night, and you're not racing again until 7 o'clock in the morning if you want to, or even 8 o'clock. Yeah. It's a long time to be in a campsite and be uncomfortable
Yeah.
if you haven't got the right kit. And if the weather's, if the weather's nice, then you're thinking, oh, it'd be all right. I'm just going to hang around in shorts and stuff like that. But actually, you're not, because the physicality you've used, you know what I mean? You're tired.
Yeah.
So you've exerted energy. So your body starts, anything you've got, you'll start burning fuel and whatever else. You get cold very quickly, So really, even no matter how hot it is, you're going to want long trousers on.
Yeah.
You want to keep the heat in the thighs and things like that, because they're only going to stiffen up anyway. But the other thing is where people went wrong as well is with their feet. I think, because when they got in, obviously the feet got wet, whatever else. But then, so they took the shoes and socks off, but then put socks and shoes back on. Now, feet need to wear. However we look at it, feet need to wear. I know it sounds daft saying, right, I need to keep my legs warm and move my body and then have your feet exposed. But your feet need to wear. You know what I mean? And you can sort of cope.
So you have sandals?
I just took sort of, not flip-flops, but I took walking sandals.
Okay.
And I just didn't put any socks on. I just walked around and let air get to my feet. And then when it got dark and it started getting a bit wet, because as it does, it gets a bit moist, I'd put sort of waterproof socks on there.
Okay.
But then when I went to bed, they would come off.
Okay.
So even when I was in my sleeping bag, my feet
You're airing your feet.
were airing my feet in the sleeping bag.
Cool.
But then the other thing is, obviously, the other things you really want is a comfortable sleeping bag that's going to keep you warm.
Okay.
And a roll mat, a good roll mat that's going to thing.
Okay.
So as it was, this was my drop bag, which was this here.
So this got taken from camp to camp.
This is this
I'll turn around that way because it's got Nelson your number on.
And this is what I used. A lot of people, I must admit, the race, there was loads of people with this type of bag. It's cheap.
Yeah.
It's 60 litres and it carried all you get. And then I also really had it in it. Because you'd never know, because if the weather had been bad, one set of warm kit wouldn't have been enough, because you'd have just got drenched. So I had about 3 different types of, that's obviously a warm top. I had a little sleeping bag that did the job. Roll mat, which is really important. And then I had these cheap from Primark, sort of lightweight down jackets that I could just throw on. Hat and gloves. And then obviously my food replen. That I would go through every day for the Dragon's Back, for my drop bag. So this has got Mountain Fuel gels, Chai Charge, everything that I was going to need to fuel me, for anything that was going to fuel me for my time when I was on the road. So I had it separate. So when I wanted to admin myself, I knew exactly what I just not have it loose. So what I did is things that I know I needed and I need to get over them quickly. I just had sort of separate, like even my wash kit. So wash kit I could just grab out as a one bag and it'd be all done. And then I had a first aid kit in there.
I think
as well.
I could take some lessons off you.
What?
I'm being organised. You got everything in different bags.
Well, if you know what colour the bags are, when you want them, you can just quickly pull out a couple of things.
I'm a nightmare.
And
I've got stuff everywhere.
And
all my stuff's in one bag. It's like, whoa, pull it out, pull it. Where is it? I'm not sure I'll put it in here.
We have the things that you're definitely going to need, like your first aid kit. It even sounds daft, like your underwear, even running socks.
Yeah.
Just have it in a bag and you can just go, that's a running bag, that's my socks. And because of the bags, you can actually write on them if you wanted to, can't you? You can put running socks, first aid kit, whatever else. But
listen, somebody did ask us a question a few minutes ago, and I missed it. But they were asking about how did you train specially for your 3-hour marathon?
No.
Your 3 hour 10?
No.
Or was it just like?
No, I didn't do any speed work at all. That's the point. I just consistently got out running.
Right, and you just tried your hardest on the day.
Yeah, when they said go, I set off, and just wondered when the wheels were going to fall off.
Right.
Because I knew I was running quite reasonably. I was running sort of 6:50 pace, and I was going, it's a bit fast, but I felt good, so I just
pushed on with it.
I just thought I'll just do this until I can't do it anymore, and then that mile 21, that's what happened.
How about, do you do any other training? Do you do any cycling?
Cycling, I don't do a lot of cycling. I should do more cycling because I think it's a good way to less strain on the body, and it's just a good way to get some more.
And do you do yoga? Do you do any stretching? Do you do any Pilates? Strength work?
I like everything. I know what I should do, and strength work I should definitely do. Yoga, I'm not very good at doing things. I'd have to go to a class, but yoga or Pilates, I think they have got their place and they're really good, because if there's anything I lack is flexibility. I used to be quite flexible. I'm not so much now, and that's because I don't I don't stretch off, and I should do.
Okay.
And that, yet again, in between all this, I had niggles, and that was down to stretching and things like that, because I don't do it, and I know I should do. Yeah.
And here's one that Andrew Walsh has asked: how was the training for the PTL? So we're kind of almost jumping out of the Dragon's Back. We haven't talked very much about Dragon's Back, to be fair, but the PTL is what? What's that?
PTL is the Petite something. It's all in French. Leon, I think. I can't remember now, but it's basically, I call it the UTMB's big brother. So the UTMB running festival held in Chamonix.
Yeah.
The last week in August has the UTMB, obviously Friday and Saturday at the end.
Yeah.
Has the TDS and the CCC, and it has this other little thing called the PTL, which is, they don't really class it as a race. It's classed, I think they class it as, they want it to be more of an adventure.
Okay.
But you can't just enter it. You have to have criteria. You know, you have to be able to prove you can rock climb. You have to be able to, you know, you've done long distance racing. You have to sort of show you've got skills in some ways or forms, and you have to do it either a trio or a pair. And I managed to get into that. So
who are you doing that with?
I'm doing a guy called Andy Jackson,
Okay.
who's he's really cave rescue, massively experienced. He's done the UTMB a couple of times. You know, he's got loads of sort of experience. I've never been over to Chamonix, so this is going to be all new for me. So I don't know the area at all.
Okay.
So and the route's not being released yet. But basically, you start obviously in France. I think you move into Italy, then Switzerland, and back into France, and you just do this big loop round. And the beauty of it is it's not just running up the trails. You get off the trails, you do via ferrata. You know, you obviously via ferrata, you have to put a harness on, clip in, get onto the ridge lines, run across the ridge lines, drop back down. And it starts on a Monday, and then you've got to be in by, I think it's Sunday.
So it could be up to 7 days.
Could be up to 7 days, yeah. It's 300k. I think it's 28,000 meters of ascent. So it's a big fella.
Wow.
It is
28,000 meters.
Yeah. So it is definitely the big brother UTMBs. But it's people who've done the UTMB have heard of the PTL, but if you haven't, people who haven't done the UTMB all seem to focus on the UTMB. They don't really know much about the PTL.
Okay.
Well, the PTL, to me, you know, I think the UTM's a great event, and I've never done it, but you know, from what I'm glad I'm doing the PTL.
So I've got some other questions to ask you about the Dragon's Back. So I read your blog. I really enjoyed your blog. What's your blog called?
Small Runnings is the blog.
Yeah.
Obviously, because I'm small.
Yeah. So people can look for that online, can't they?
And it's ironic as well, because I don't really do small runs.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I like that. And when I was in the military, my nickname was Small Paul. So yeah.
Okay. So tell us about the cramp, because you got first day out, you got cramp.
Yeah, every time I race, I always learn something new. Without fail, there's always something. It sounds daft, you think it's just running, but you learn something new. And what I learned this time was, if you run harder than your ability, then you can get cramp from it, and you can get severe cramp. And that's basically what happened to me. Though I was strong, I definitely feel like I was running too fast, but I obviously was, and this is how my body responded, and it just gave me the worst cramp I've ever had in my life.
And it must have been a big scare on the first day. No?
It was, because you know, you have aspirations, don't you? So you think, especially when your race is going so well, and you're thinking, oh, this is brilliant, I'm bouncing along, and you're really happy, and then all of a sudden you just stop dead. That's the point. Is the cramp, it just stopped me dead, where I couldn't move. And that's even worse, isn't it? You know, you've gained all this time, and you've gained all these places, and all of a sudden these people are just bouncing past you, you know, and because you can't literally move, and you're stuck, and then you try and run it through, and that's what I found is I took so many salt tablets I thought it was an overdose. Found out you can't actually overdose on salt tablets. It just makes you violently ill, but you can't overdose it, thankfully. So then I just decided the only thing I could do, because I couldn't walk it out, I couldn't stretch it off. It just, you know, and there's only so much swearing you can do in the Welsh Hills without people starting to frown at you. So I decided that I had to just sit there and ride it out. So I just lied there on the floor. My legs were disco dancing to themselves for like 5 minutes, and just let it subside. And then I'd get up and I'd move a bit further, then it'd kick off again, and I'd sit and do the same.
Wow.
And I did that all the way all over the top from Trefan, all the way down over the Glidders into Penny Pass. And then going over Crib Goch, I got it a couple of times.
You got cramp on Crib Goch?
On Crib Goch, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's convenient.
It was really handy, especially when I was up this little gully, and there was only one way up, and I was in the middle of it, and I couldn't lift because the cramp was kicking off, and every time I had to do this little step to put my foot on a ledge, and every time I tried to, whichever leg I tried to put up, cramped up straight away.
So you were like blocking the gully or the ledge or something.
Yeah. And I was like screaming and giggling at the same time because I even, you know, I couldn't help. So it was funny. If it wasn't going to the pain, if somebody was watching me, it was funny. But I managed to. I did some stupid manoeuvre that just got me over it and out. And then I could sit once I got to the top. I could sit there and go. That lasted till I got off. I can't remember the peak. It's the last. So you come down to the saddle and then you climb Snowdon. And then just as I come off that last bit, I suddenly got the last bit of cramp, and I just sat there and shook it off. And then I sort of jogged down, and not that I felt any different, and then I started walking briskly to the top of Snowdon. I went, all right. Got to the top of Snowdon, dipped in, and I was going down the hill, and I'm going, all right. And then I just didn't get it again after that, and I found that I actually could start running again. I could start bouncing down the descents, and I could climb all right, and that was fine, and that took me all the way to the finish for the day. But I lost over an hour and a half easily on that day. Just the fact that I had to sit, you know, and let people, and the fact that times I just stood still with my legs, you know, rock solid, not bending at the knees and just sort of hanging on bits of rock.
So when you got in, I was told all the food. I've been told all the food is really great on the
the
whole of the Dragon's Back. But it also, I know you're not a vegetarian. It was a vegetarian menu for the whole week.
Yeah.
And I know you're a fairly strident out and out meat eater, and so meat must be a normal part of your diet. How did changing your diet, was that a substantial change, and did that affect your race?
I don't know. It's one of them unanswerable questions, isn't it? Because when I race, I don't eat anyway. I lose my appetite full stop. Hence why Mountain Fuel's really good, and you know, obviously your product is really good because I can eat little bits, but I can't eat big stuff. Now I don't know whether my appetite is because I looked at it as all vegetarian and it just didn't appeal to me.
Okay.
Or whether it was the fact that I've just lost my appetite anyway. I start burning fat a lot, so I don't tend to eat a lot. And to an extent I must have been alright, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get up the next day and do it again.
Yeah.
And do that continually for 5 days. So I must, you know, a certain amount of me must have been okay with it. And I had a lot of fat to burn, trust me. You know what I mean? So, I lost over a stone over the race. No, not during the race, but afterwards. Since I stopped, from then to now, I've lost over a stone. So I had the weight to lose. But so it's very hard to answer that because I do lose my appetite anyway when I'm racing. But I just found it strange that even though I knew it was time off, that I still really couldn't eat. But the times I did get a chance to have meat, I wolfed it down, you know. That's the other stupid thing, isn't it?
Well, I saw that in your blog about you got the bacon
and
pastry or something.
And the night before, I went to the pub. There's a pub at on the Thursday night's finish point. There's a pub, and they had hog roast.
Okay.
So I had a hog roast barn cake, which I managed to eat, not a problem.
Oh, okay.
And a pint, obviously, because it was good for morale. And I managed that, not a problem. Do you know what I mean? So that there, you know, it was fine.
Okay.
But it's very hard to quantify.
You can't recreate a race. You can't recreate a race.
And just provide meat. But like everything, lessons learned is one thing. Is I know on this sort of stuff I'll always carry, you know, salamis or pepperami. You know, that sort of fatty, spicy meat.
Yeah.
That's still a bit more. You know, it's not that dry. Yeah. And even maybe biltong. You know, is it biltong that some people that dry beef? Maybe that. I'll, you know, because I think that for me, I think that my body's used to getting protein so much from that source. So for me to try and get it from butter beans, which I detest, is not going to happen.
It's not going to work well for you.
No.
Okay.
I mean, one day they had a cottage pie. It wasn't really cottage pie because it was a bean cottage pie, but it had mashed potato and gravy, and I managed to have the mashed potato and gravy.
Yeah, you were fine with that.
I was fine with that. That managed to go down. But they had soup as well, so I had a lot of soup.
Okay.
But the food, you know, the food was really good, and it sounds like I'm being dismissive, and I'm not, because the food...
No, I don't think... And that's not why I'm not trying to stir a pot.
No.
I'm not trying to stir a pot, I'm just trying to understand how it worked for you.
But the food, you know, if you're a vegetarian, you'd have been in vegetarian heaven. You know, the food was plentiful, and it was,
cool.
It was good.
Well, listen, we probably should tie up in the last 10 minutes.
Yes.
So, I've got a couple more questions for you. After the Dragon's Back... Well, let me go back to the kit. got a question about that. Was there anything that you wished you'd had? I know you just mentioned salami, but apart from the salami, is there anything you wished you'd packed that you kind of dropped out? You see, you think you had all that correct?
I had more than enough kit, to be fair.
Well,
there's not what
right
I had all the right kit. I don't think there's anything there that I'd have gone, yeah, no, I wish I had that.
What trainers did you have?
I had Scott's. I had the Ultra RCs.
Yeah.
Which are really good, and I love the. I had on the last day I wore the Scott Kinabalu.
Okay, yeah.
Which are they're not as aggressive sole, but they're great on gravelly bits and road, and you know what I mean. And they're not good on mud, but they're not too bad on grassy bits.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So and I wore them on the last day.
Cool. That's
Scott trainers, they were great.
Okay. Now, somebody on our team is doing their first 100 miler in the next couple of months. They've planned themselves their own little unofficial 100 mile.
Yeah.
You got any advice for them? It's not me.
No. Like everything, just break it down into things that you can accept. Don't think of the overall goal.
Okay.
It's the simplest thing. I know, as always, and I think in most people, you always got to do is put one foot in front of the other. And just keep doing it.
Keep moving.
And just keep moving. As long as you're moving, and then it's the right direction, then you're doing the right thing. It doesn't matter. It's not about how fast you do it. You know, in race terms, as long as you're in front of the cut-offs, then it doesn't matter.
Cool.
The only thing I will say, if it is a proper race, and I find a lot of people do that. Some people do. What they'll do is because they know they're slow anyway. They think, well, all right, as long as I stay, they don't give themselves a buffer zone. Because inevitably, when you're fresh, I always think you should make the most of when you're fresh. So if you can move quicker at the start, move a bit quicker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're fresh. Because once you're tired, you're tired.
You won't be moving.
And you won't be moving quick.
Yeah,
so if you can, that gives you an extra buffer against the cut-offs, and it's got to be a good thing. Because once you're tired, you're tired.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be 5 more minutes. If anyone's got any more questions, shout now. The guys will write them down for us.
Yeah.
You're planning to do the Paddy Butley round
next year.
Is that right? Next year.
Hopefully, next year.
So what's the Paddy Butley round?
There's the 3 great rounds of the UK. You've got the Ramsey up in Scotland.
Yeah.
You've got the Paddy, obviously the Bob Graham in
Yeah.
the Lake District, and then the Paddy Buckley's obviously down in North Wales.
Okay.
And yeah, I'd love to do all 3. Paddy Buckley's a bit more accessible because it's just easier to recce and get down to. And lucky enough, in a couple of weeks, in a month's time, I'm going to be supporting my mate on the Paddy Buckley.
Okay.
So and the other bits, because I've done it over the Dragons Back, but I've done it through other bits as well. So I know the area a bit better. So I need to I want to get myself down there and go off and do the and yeah, next year. I've not worked out when. It's fitting it in. May's always busy because I want to do the Hardmoors 160.
Yeah, and you're often supporting people on doing their Bob Grahams as
well.
I know you do quite a bit of that.
Yeah, so I've got quite a few bits of support lined up. I also want a Joss Naylor, as well. I'm doing a Joss Naylor support. Yeah, so I live closely. If I can get out and help people, then I will do.
Oh, cool. Right, have we got any more questions coming up? We done? I think we're done. Paul, you've been a gent, mate.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
a
lot.
Pleasure. No, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and I really appreciate it.
No, you're very welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Done. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Oh no, there's another thing to come. Forgot all about this. So, Paul, Lisa's made something for you.
It's your own little dragon.
Oh,
I'm sorry, it is vegetarian. Congratulations from us all.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Well done, and thanks for coming.
Oh, that's awesome.
You got a cake, Paul.
Oh, you know how happy that makes me.
Yeah, I know you love your cake.
That makes me very, very, very happy. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And it says Paul Nelson and your time.
Yeah.
And a dragon.
Yeah. You made me all embarrassed now. Thank you very much.
Getting emotional.
Look at that.
Just put it there. Can we see that? Is that good?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
All right.
I'll have a cake.
I don't have to say now.
Oh,
That's
right.
it.
Yeah.